So it's Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by my good friend and former English and British light heavyweight champion, Shakan Pitters. Shak, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. Enjoying the New Year's period and things, and the Xmas period with my family. So all good. How about
How have
yourself?
you? Yeah, good, thank you. How have you found it? You've obviously got a fight coming up in February, which we'll talk about in a minute. But how have you found it over the Christmas period while everyone else has been presumably stuffing their faces?
Yeah, it's been challenging. My first, obviously, camp through Christmas and things. So it's been challenging, but not as hard. Like only challenging because these things come around once a year. As you know, it's celebrated by everyone. You see in everyone's Christmas dinners. I'm around it with my family where they're stuffing their faces with Christmas dinner and things. So, yeah, it's a bit challenging in that respect, holding back and remaining disciplined. But it's being disciplined is something I don't struggle with. You know, I look at the bigger picture. So there's always like a toe recovery anyway somewhere. I can just enjoy it after.
It's interesting you say that about not struggling with staying disciplined because you are a 175 fighter and have been throughout your career. You're 6'6", according to BoxRec, and I've no reason to doubt it, having met you in person. How have you managed to maintain that weight for so long?
Again, just honestly, just I'm not a fan of junk food anyway. People do ask me like I'm not someone who will go to the chip shop, stuff my body with fish and chips and kebabs and all that. I'm not saying I'm not one like I don't eat like a pizza or something junk, but I refrain from doing that. My body's my temple at the end of the day, and with boxing or not boxing, I'm very health conscious on what I put in my body.
Now, before we get into the big fight coming up on the 7th of February, just tell us why we didn't see you in the ring as it turned out the whole of 2024.
Yeah, it was just a lot of business things on the end. At that point, I was a free agent. I had my fight, of course, with Sky and things, and after that, I was like on the bigger stages anyway. There wasn't a lot out there. A lot of fighters generally seemed tied up on their own paths as well, and I wasn't gonna accept deals, any deals with any promoters, which I didn't feel was representative of my value. Um, but within that time, I've been in the gym. I've remained in the gym. Um, I had fight offers which came up, which obviously me and my team also did prepare for before, and they fell through. But yeah, I've remained in the gym. I've remained on my job, which is being a full-time boxer. So yeah, man, I've remained on training and working on things.
When you've seen other domestic light heavyweights fighting on those big Riyadh season shows, you know, Boatsi was on a couple, Willie
Yeah.
Hutchinson moved up and was on one, you know, some of the others as well. Has that added to the frustration?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, I'm not envious of anyone on there like pushing because that's something where it's their path. You know, I believe in timing. But of course, 100%, I'd love to get on one of those cards. It looks amazing. And I believe I'm more than ready to, you know, be on them cards and show my skills and, you know, be in these good domestic fights for sure and bigger fights. So yeah, that's the whole idea and plan anyway. Obviously, I've got to focus on the 7th of February and getting that belt will add to more value on my name as an enterprise, whatever it be. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be on these bigger cards.
Yeah, that fight, obviously, you're challenging Daniel Blender dos Santos for that European title. Um, there was even a date mentioned for you going over to France to fight for it back in November before you signed with GBM. How
Yeah,
close were you to actually having to make that trip rather than get it on home soil?
it was very, very close. You know, it actually, because within that time I was in negotiations. Obviously, the EBU then had a time frame of when the purse bids was to be finalized. So the French actually, at a stage, did have things set up for it to be in France. It fell through their end because they said something in regards to TV.
Yeah.
Them not securing TV or something on their end, the business end of that. But within that time, and this is why I think it's all you know, in God's timing and good plan, because within that time, obviously, things pushed through with GBM. and it was a perfect opportunity to make my debut with himself in a big title fight. And yeah, they then so happened because he went to Perspids again. They so happened to just blow them out of the water with it. So yeah, it's um it's all a blessing. I mean, whether I had to went to France, it don't matter for me because what I'm working on in the gym, I've got a showcase, whether it's in France, Gibraltar, anywhere. So it wouldn't have mattered to me, but it obviously always does feel amazing to have it on home soil, and even more special to be making my debut with my promoter and my team, GBM.
How much of that was a part of the negotiations with GBM? I mean, were they saying to you, look, if you sign with us, there's a good chance we'll bring that European title fight to the UK. Like, we're going to go in heavy with those purse bids.
Yeah, practically like that as well. But it's not just that, their stable's amazing and they believe in me as a fighter. And obviously Izzy is a great upcoming promoter, backed by the zone, amazing person and things like that. So I think it was just right for me to be at home again, with a promotional company that actually value and care for me and want to push me to the top of my game.
And given you hadn't been in the ring, as we said, for the whole of 2024, how much was that a big deal for you that they did value you as a fighter? They still believed in you, even though they hadn't seen any recent evidence.
Yeah, it was a big deal. I mean, evidently Izzy and the team kind of did come to my gym a few times. They've got Niall Berry signed to their promotion, and he'd always see me in the gym anyway. And he'd say it himself. He said it many times. Like he'd see me training as if like I did have a potential fight coming up. I was also sparring. A lot of other light heavyweights, and even heavyweight to be fair, and other weights just to stay keep my momentum, keep ticking and working on the things and showcasing the things what I've been working on myself as a fighter to improve my game. So I've always remained disciplined and under fact in the gym. And with Izzy and the team actually coming, seeing that it's a good outlet for them to see that, hold on, he's a serious fighter, he still is working, he's still there when quite frankly, it would have been easy just to sit down and wait for the phone to ring and then think, oh, I'll get into camp. But this is why even for this fight, I'm so well prepared. I'm so well prepared, and it's got my maximum focus, and I think the public will see a different fighter in me, a more positive, a better fighter, a more improved version of myself. So yeah, I'm excited, man.
Because a lot of people out there won't have seen you since probably the defeat to Dan Aziz, I guess. You've had a couple of good 8 round wins since then, but not necessarily on the big stage. How have you improved? In what areas have you improved in the gym? What are you most proud of that has developed?
I feel in all aspects in a sense where I'm a more mature fighter now. I feel more experienced. I feel more how can I say it? Yeah, like I feel that more mature fighter in myself. My even within my power, within my attributes, in my game, my range, as well as my short range work. So I feel just in all aspects. Honestly, I could wheel them all off, even my ring generalship. But I don't like to really credit myself with things. I feel like everyone will see that for themselves. I feel like I'm definitely a more mature fighter, in a lot of things in my game, and it all will definitely be seen on the 7th of February.
From a kind of financial perspective, how have you survived for the last year or so without having that regular paycheck from boxing? Are you doing a lot outside of the gym?
Doing a lot, hitting up banks, taking the money, looting. Now I'm only playing.
Yeah.
Um, Now you know what it is. I think one thing that a lot of fighters don't get in the manual book of being a professional fighter is literally being smart with your money. I've earned decent paydays and things, and it's like I've always remained smart with my money. I wouldn't be the kind of fighter who splashes out. Like I almost kind of got there. Don't be wrong. Like when you first get your big check and things, you're thinking, oh, let me carry on and go crazy. But I'm smart with my money, and I've always remained to be smart with my money. I don't try and live a crazy lifestyle or something because I know that has to be maintained. So I've always been smart with my money, and as well as I do other things outside of boxing anyway, which is also helping myself. So yeah, I'll always be smart with my money, and I'd advise all fighters to do that, man. Like, of course, you all want nice things and things, but don't overstretch your budget just to look like someone you're not. So
Well, it's good sage advice for all fighters, although not all fighters will have the opportunity to do some catwalk modeling on the side. Tell us how that came about.
He's done his research. Yeah, that came about. You know what? It's crazy because I was with a suit company, one of my sponsors here, called House Cavani, and I was doing a lot of campaigning work with himself. Like obviously modeling wasn't something I ever thought of. And then they ended up putting me around the billboards around in Birmingham, on the M6 billboards, like a big one. So it's like everyone would drive past there and everyone's taking pictures and saying, "Yo, Shaq, I've seen you on this and that." I was like, "Oh, it's good." So it kind of got a lot of viewing. There's a woman who basically came to a meeting I was having with a good friend of mine over dinner, and she was talking because she's actually in the modeling agency. She was talking about actually seeing this billboard herself, and she was like, "Well, I know a good suit company who's actually doing the London Fashion Week," and I was like, "London Fashion Week? I've never done anything like that, you know." So she's like, "Nah, honestly, you'll be good at it." So I took the opportunity. I thought, okay, why not? What's the worst that could happen? Took the opportunity, went there, and yeah, literally just we had like an hour. It was an hour rehearsal, so it was all
Yeah.
new to me. My younger sister, Kamara Pitters, she's currently modeling herself, so she was already doing that through another modeling agency she was with at the time. And so me and I ended up going up there together, and it was just like loads of rehearsals, practicing, and them kind of cursing the whole thing. Long story short, anyway, nailed it. Got some funny feedback from my friends on some of the outfits. Not that anything was crazy, but one of the shorts was very kind of short, but it wasn't like that short, if you get what I'm saying. But it was
No
short.
wardrobe malfunctions, I'm hoping.
Yeah, no, nothing crazy, nothing crazy. I can have you know, I didn't wear no heels and nothing crazy like people wear, but um, yeah, I ended up doing that anyway and nailing it. And the suit cook guy who had me there actually enjoyed what I was doing and things because like I kind of got in there through the back door.
Yeah.
I didn't have any modeling experience. I was told to say on the day like you had to say that you've done the catwalks and things before, and I'm like, bloody hell, I really haven't. But I took that time just to learn anyway what they're doing, and yeah, nailed it. And he liked me, and within the midst of that, I ended up there was a modeling agency company there who I ended up signing with, and yeah, they then got me on other fashion walk catwalk shows, which was at Cheshire. I've done campaigning with other big brands now and things. So yeah, it just took off itself naturally. But of course, now I am a boxer and I want to be known for that. And that's on hold right now, in preparation for this, you know. And even in my last fight, I ain't really said it much, but my last fight with Joel, I had an 8 rounder and I had a shoot literally the very next day. So I literally just boxed my way to victory on that one. And I literally did. And I had to shoot the next day. So yeah, it was these opportunities come along and it's hard to say no to them when the good opportunity is. And I'm glad I said yes to it, you know, something new. And I just put myself in there and it's kind of worked out for me.
Yeah, I did wonder the secret behind that John McIntyre fight 'cause he tends to be, knockout or be knocked out kind of fighter, and you
Yeah.
80-72'd him. So I thought, oh, wonder what's gone on there. And that now we know.
Now you know, innit? Quick little cash under the card. That
I'm
what it
sure he'll appreciate it as well. Yeah.
is.
Um, Getting back to boxing, February the 7th, Daniel Blender dos Santos. Most UK boxing fans will know him from the fight with Joshua Buatsi a few years ago now, where, in fairness, he looked out of his depth at times in that fight. I'm sure he's improved since. He's gone on and won the European Union title, then the full European. What do you make of him from what you've seen recently in footage and so on?
I think he's a decent fighter. He's a very I think one thing you take from that Buatsi loss, you can see he's a very passionate fighter. You know, he let his emotions out in that ring, and that's I wouldn't look at that as a weakness. You know, I just look at that as a passionate fighter, and I know what a loss like I've experienced obviously a loss, and I know what it can do. It either makes or breaks you. It makes you either go into a mode of pity or in other modes brings out the beast in you, you know. So I'm sure like he's improved from that. I don't take anything from that. You know, I'm my own fighter, and yeah, I've given myself and him maximum effort and respect in this camp. I'm not overlooking anything. I believe he's a decent fighter, and I'm prepared for the best version of him. And yeah, I've just worked on myself, and I believe in my skills and everything what I've put into the this camp and in the gym. Sorry.
Where do you feel a victory over him will put you? Because based on previous accomplishments, it could exceed everything you've done before in this one fight.
Yeah, I think every fight has led up to getting me to this point. So every fight has definitely been important in my career. But obviously being able to become a European champion, um, as long with all more the accolades which I have done and got, it's another stepping stone into the right direction where I need to go. Um, and obviously, if I want to be on these bigger cards like the Riyadh and fight for major, bigger titles, then I have to get through Daniel De Santos. So yeah, it's a major achievement, of course, for me and my family. But that's as far as I look ahead. I've got to get this title, European title. I've got a top fighter in him to get it off, and I believe we'll get the job done.
I spoke to Izzy Azif just before Christmas, and he was saying one of the things he'd like GBM to do in 2025 is get one or two of their fighters on the Riyadh season shows because it's an inevitable next step for the company's growth.
Yeah.
You've come in, your first fight, as you say, your debut is going to be a European title shot at home. It seems like if you win that, you're in pole position to be one of those guys. How big a deal is that for you that you've got a promotional company right behind you and they're going places as well?
Definitely, it's a massive deal. I think this is why what I needed. Even when I, for example, fought down Aziz, I went with a promotional company. I just think when you do have a promotional company who's also singing your praises and backing you, it does help in our career. And as I said, with Izzy, GBM, the Zone, they're doing a fantastic job collaborating together. And I see he's making a lot of moves. He's a hard-working man. He's there's rarely a time, say, if I was up late and if I was to hit him up, he'd be working, he'd be up, he'd be, he's very mobile. So I think his energy matches the kind of direction what I want to go in him and his team. They match that. So I think with that it only adds to good ingredients for us to move forward as a team. He's got great fighters with him in the stable as well. So I'm happy to be a part of that, and I'm happy to, you know, as I say, win my first major title with him, and hopefully again push to these bigger cards we had season. As you said, it's literally touching distance, but again, major focus, step by step, we get this title.
Well, I'm going to divert your focus a little bit to some other fighters, and the next big Riyadh season show is just 2 weeks after your fight, and headlined once again by the two consensus best light heavyweights in the world. How did you score the first fight between Bivol and Beterbiev, and what do you see happening in the rematch?
I think it was a very, very close fight. Very well class fight. They're both very credible, world class fighters. I think the right person did win at the time. I think Beterbiev is the only difference was that he was more assertive, and he did land the more telling punches, and he did land more punches. Bivol's footwork and movement was world class. Watching him is a quality fighter. So is Beterbiev, but and they both use their attributes very well. I think it was a very close. I think one of the judges scored it. Was it 117, 111 or something
Yeah,
wide
it's
like that?
quite wide.
It wasn't that wide. It was definitely like there was like about 2 rounds in it at most. 115, 113, I'd had it. But yeah, I think the right man won. But it'd be interesting now to again see um what these two fighters do because they're at the elite of their game. It'd be interesting to see how they adjust anything now, or are they practically going to come the same? But I doubt it. They're coming the same because their preparation is going to be different. So it'd be good to see how what adjustments they make to establish themselves in the ring and kind of flip them favors. But I obviously as a fight as the style boxer prefer the work of Bivol because
Mm.
Bivol it was just all acute. It was amazing to watch as a fighter myself. But Beterbiev is strong, he's powerful, he's very assertive, and he's hot. You got to be fit like being able to probably spar about 24 rounds fit to keep that up with the movement what Bivol was doing and the counter punching and the reverse 1-2s and things. It's quite a lot to keep up, especially you got to put a high tempo on him and he's a big puncher. So yeah, it'd be good, interesting to see.
I mean, given you identify a little bit more with Bivol because of the style, and he is also the younger, probably fresher guy, what adjustments would you like to see him make if he's going to change the result?
I just think he'd have to more or less do what he was doing. I think he held his feet more in the earlier rounds and used a
Mm.
lot more his lateral movement. But as he was getting, and that was good, his lateral movement was very good because it wasn't allowing Beterbiev to sit down and plant his feet on his powerful punches to land them. But the problem with that, fighting that style, you have to be like the fittest you've ever been. And although Bivol was fit in the later rounds, he let a few of them slip when he was tired and backing off to the ropes and kind of neglected that foot movement and them angles, what he was doing before and what was working for him. So again, it's easier said, watching it, but his heart rate would have been at probably like 190 beats a minute fighting like that. So yeah, I think maybe just up the rounds in the gym, whatever rounds he's been doing, and shorten the rest time. Maybe that's something where he'll be able to be more consistent towards the championship rounds with his style of what he was doing because it was working for him and he landed some good shots as well. So that's kind of the adjustments I'd like to see probably. Not that I would see it obviously in training,
Yeah.
but I'd like to see him probably doing a lot more with the fitness side of things. Just in the championships rounds, he's better prepared for that. And obviously, as hard as it is, hold his feet a bit more and not back up as much because his feighting's excellent. His feighting's excellent. He's always keeping him guessing anyway. So I don't think there's much to really adjust.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because against Canelo, which is his most famous win, he was able to
Mhm.
consistently stay on that front foot, but Canelo fights in bursts, so there's always going to be
Yeah,
a chance to do that, whereas Beterbiev is just relentless.
yeah. Beterbiev throws punches from different angles. Wherever he steps, he's throwing it, and he throws it as he moves as well. Although he hasn't got the the most elite footwork, it is still good. But it's good for him and it works for him. Um, but yeah, with Canelo wouldn't have thrown as much punches a better BFEs either. He's very content sometimes to kind of start slow or take a few and then go himself. So it's different styles of fighting. That's why styles makes fights.
We saw Joshua Buatsi in 2024 pick up the WBO interim title against Willie Hutchinson, who'd upset Spider, obviously, previously. Now he's going into a big all British clash with Callum Smith. You would imagine whoever wins that, the likelihood is they'll challenge the winner of the main event at some point in 2025. How do you see that one kind of panning out?
Good fight. I rate both as fighters. Obviously, Buatsi, decent fighter. Callum Smith also a decent fighter, both proven. So I think it's a good fight for both of them. I think people have been kind of judging Callum Smith from his loss to like Canelo, Beterbiev, and things like that. He's lost to elite fighters, and I think he's still a decent fighter in the UK boxing scene. So I think, and again with Boatsi, he's very he's grounded himself through a lot of his victories as well. Like he'll go in the trenches, and that's what I like about him. I like that he'll go in the trenches, he'll fight, he'll put it all on the line. Both good fighters. I couldn't call it generally. I think they both got great strengths. So whoever does win, I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. I think it's going to be a very tough fight for both of them.
It's a great kind of period for the 175-pound division. Assuming
Mm.
all goes well in your fight on the 7th, you'll be right up there as part of it at the top level.
Yeah, 100%. And this is it. Like I wanna be in these good fights on the biggest stages. That's my dream of it. Like obviously boxing wasn't my dream, it was football, but since I'm this far now, that's something where I'd like to achieve in my career and tick off, and be on the biggest stages and fight these fighters. I want to fight good fighters. I want people who I have to get out of bed, which I do every fight anyway, and I have this camp. But like I want the all British domestic fights are always a good selling point, a good talking point. Everyone loves to see them. So of course I want to be up there and have these potential fights myself.
Great stuff. Mate, really appreciate your time. Hope it all goes well with the rest of camp, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully be crowned European champion on the 7th of February.
Definitely, no doubt, man. And I appreciate your time as well. It's a pleasure catching up with you. It's been some years, and you're still looking the same. Maybe just a little bit.
Oh, stop it.
Maybe it's still a little bit, a few more silvers, but nah, you're
Just a
good,
bit
man.
more, yeah. I don't think they'll be calling me to go on the catwalk anytime soon, so don't recommend me to your agent. But no,
I got you,
it's a
man.
pleasure to see you too, mate. And yeah, fingers
You
crossed
too.
for the 7th.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, now.
Take care, mate. Bye bye.
Nice.